turn your batteries on, you want to hit them both in the on and off, hit reset to make sure they engage, and this will tell you how much battery charge that you currently have.
The number one thing you want to remember is to ensure that the battery banks are on anytime you're driving to recharge the battery to full capacity. There is another battery on-off switch. This is sort of a disconnect reconnect from the system, so if the batteries for some reason are not turning on, you can switch that off and switch that on again. And you can hear that clicking sound that happens. That tells you the battery has been turned back on again.
This is the Truma control panel. It has your heater, your water heater, the energy you're going to use for these three things, and the fan or vent. You push this button to get the panel to start. Whenever it's blinking, that's what you're working with. So as long as it's blinking, that's what you're adjusting. So we'll go first to your heater. Click the button again, put it to the temperature you want, click the button again, and you've got it set. To go back, make sure it's blinking, push the button, set it to where you want, push the button to set. Same with the water heater, it has 3 settings. It does eco, hot, and boost. It's basically 3 different speeds of heating up your water. And again, you want to set what you want, push your button, and then it will tell you that it's on and heating. The third thing that this adjusts is your fan. And that you click on, it says vent, and then you click on it again once it says vent, and you can put it to whatever speed you want to circulate the air. To pick where you're going to get the energy from to run any of these, you go to this little propane tank with lightning bolts, click on it. Gas is full propane, mix is propane with a little electricity, mix 2 is half and half, and then you've got electric 1 is 1 little bolt of electric 2 is the 2 bolts, and this, when you have an electric 2, you're using all electric. Now if you're not plugged in, you will get a warning sign if you're using any type of electric, and that will come up. What we'll do is here we'll set the heat, and we'll go back over here to electric because we're not plugged in right now. And then usually a little warning sign comes up. There it is. And that's letting you know there's not enough energy for you to be using electricity right now to run the heat. So you're gonna wanna go back up, switch to here, and put it on gas. And should be on gas. And there you go, the warning sign goes away. So if you get a warning sign, you can navigate your way down to it so it starts blinking, click on it, and it will give you a code. And in our renter's manual, we have a description of what each of those codes mean. If you still can't figure it out, just send us a text and we'll help you troubleshoot it.
We have this final panel to the right. This panel controls a number of things. Namely, it gives you an idea of what your battery reading is. This is really important because you got to keep an eye on how much power you're using and how it's draining the battery. Even if you're at an electrical site, there are situations where if you're trying to run a microwave, a television, lights, fans, and heat all at the same time, the voltage that's coming from the 30 amp hookup is probably not always going to be strong enough not to discharge your battery. So that's something to manage. The microwave is probably the biggest power hog, followed by the TV, and then air conditioning and in your heat. Lights and fans are usually pretty low consumers, but the biggest one to be mindful of that you can control pretty easily is charging any devices in the vehicle. If you're trying to charge 5 tablets, that's going to drain the battery pretty fast, along with doing other things. This voltage reading should usually be hovering somewhere at around 13.3 to 13.6 if the battery is pretty charged. This can get as low as maybe 12.7 without it being dangerous to the battery. Once you get down to about 12.6, you're in dangerous territory. You're going to want to turn the car on and recharge the batteries, making sure that the battery banks are on while the car runs. Or if you are using the Volt Start technology, keeping the batteries on and then turning on the Volt Start so that the underhood generator turns on. Another really awesome feature with the vehicle is this Volt Start technology. And you'll see here right next to the vehicle height sticker, there's this little green switch. What this does is it allows you to keep the car battery from dying while it's sitting and using energy. If you've been boondocking for quite some time and you're not sure if the refrigerator is going to last, the battery's going to last because you're winding down that battery power, you can turn on the Volt Start and the underhood alternator will automatically turn on whenever your battery gets below a certain amount, so it won't get fully discharged. In order to use the Volt Start technology, all you have to do is you put the key in the ignition, turn it forward and back, forward and back again. That just ensures that you have completely reset the system. Then you come to this switch here and you turn this green button on, the light will turn on, and after that you have 15 seconds to leave the vehicle and close all the doors. So you just pop out the side and then close it, and that Volt Start will be on. So if your battery goes below a certain amount, it will turn on the underhood alternator and recharge the battery at the expense of a little bit of gas, but not too much.
This panel to your right has a few pretty self-explanatory buttons on it. Patio light, we don't have a patio light, but we've got the button. Water pump is to turn on your water pump. Your power step is if you want to have your steps stay out, whether this door opens and closes while you park. The minute you turn on the engine, that step should just come in whether this button is closed or not, or whether this button is engaged or not, but it's good to remember to turn it off. Your inverter obviously gives you power to all your outlets, and then battery on and off, as we said earlier, is kind of a reset if for some reason the resets on the left hand side aren't working. Over here in the middle, LPG is your propane. Push that, it'll tell you how much propane you have. Fresh is how much fresh water you have. We don't have a black tank, but we still have the button, so you can just ignore that. Gray tank, that will tell you how much gray you have. And then we don't have the renters use the awning. It's unfortunately something that really easily can be damaged, so we just ask you not to use the awning.
The final control panel is back here near the bed. It's the air conditioning control. The air conditioning is mounted underneath the vehicle, and it's all powered from the back here. The one thing about this air conditioning control is because it's a European part, it always reads in Celsius. Turn this on, you can click the button and then click it again, and now we have the fan. We can turn the fan to minimum, medium, or max. Then you click the button again. Sorry, and one more time. And then here you can set the temperature that you want the air conditioning to try to get the cabin to. 16 is the lowest. Once you're done, you just click to go to the menu, and you can see there's a little LCD screen that tells you what your set point is, what temperature you want it to be, the temperature that is currently inside the vehicle. So right now we're at 29 Celsius. When you're all done, you can just press, there's a little button right here, you can kind of see it. You can press that button to turn the little LCD screen off and let your air conditioning run. Air conditioning tends to last up to 2 hours or 3 hours on battery power if you're not really running anything else. Now I'm going to show you how to set up and tear down the bed. All you have to do when you're ready to put the bed away is just fold this middle mattress up, pull the mattress up onto the side. Then you can pick up this mattress. Probably want to put all the mattresses toward the bottom to distribute the weight in a more even fashion. And then you can tuck your pillows up top here. And then this panel just flips up. When you're ready to go back to bed, all you need to do is press this lever and bring the panel down, and then bring the mattresses back in. Also, this tabletop acts as a second storage. You can pull it up. We've got extra sheets in here, as well as our how-to guide. And to close this storage area, all you need to do is lift it up a little bit and push it forward. And then it closes right up. Now I'm going to show you how to pop up the pop top. In order to start, you just need to unclip. There are 2 little latches here on either side, so just unclip those. And then there is another swivel latch that you just twist to unhook. You'll do that on both sides, and then flip it down, and then it will, when you flip that down and move it up, it'll magnet up. After that, all you need to do is just put your hands on either side of the roof and just give it a push. It might take a little bit extra push to get that hydraulic to engage, but it should just pop up on its own once it gets to a certain height. After you've got the pop-up top up, you can take this out, the sunshade pack, and we've got our ladders stored here. Just pull the ladder out carefully. And then put it together. You want to make sure that the direction of the hooks, when you put it together, point at the same angle as the floor pieces, so that it will stand in this diagonal way. And then you just hook the hooks to the top and set the ladder down, and you can climb up. To take down the pop-up top, first you're going to want to put away the ladder. So you just unclip the ladder on both sides, and you take the 2 pieces apart and tuck them in up in the top here. Next, you're going to reach for, there are 2 cloth strap handles up here. These help you pull it down. As you're pulling down from both of these, you want to pull down at the exact same time and go about halfway, and you'll see that sometimes the pop-up top will bow in and sometimes out. These little red handles, you're going to want to pull in. As you pull down, you can just kind of stop and then pull it in to make sure that it's pointing inward, and then it's not pointing outward, because it'll get caught and it won't shut. So you just pull that inward. You take these 2, pull them down, and toward the front, you're also going to want to make sure that this is falling inside the cab and not falling towards the outside. So just pull that down and it'll automatically fall in. And once it's clamp down. You just tuck all this material into the top and behind the latches. Then you can put the straps, just tuck them in between the bed and the rooftop to get them out of the way. And you can pull down the latch, get that hooked in, and then turn the crank so that it latches it fully in place. Take the additional latch and you can plug it in there, and now you're fully secured on one side.
To use the toilet, make sure your water pump is on. Do your business. Close the lid. Push this blue button to put water in there. To flush, you push this lever forward, that drops in your business, and then you push it back and that closes up the cassette. So that helps to eliminate odor. You want to make sure that it's closed all the time you're not using it. Afterwards, you can wash your hands by pushing this black lever up, which drops down this sink, and you can use this faucet. Then push the sink back up, and they're all done. If for some reason you need to keep the bowl clean, we have a spray that has bacteria eating enzymes in it. You can spray it in your bowl. I recommend that you put your toilet paper in the little trash can we provide, because the cassette can get quite clogged with toilet paper. So it's kind of a thing you have to get used to, but it's not that big of a deal.
On your keys, you're going to have 2 additional keys. These get you access to your super secure cassette toilet and your gray water tank. This big key is for your cassette toilet. In order to open the cassette toilet, you put the big key into the slot, turn it to the side so it's horizontal, and then you just press the key and this button in order to open that compartment up. Before you take the cassette toilet out, you want to make sure that it's fully flushed and that the lever is back to the left-hand side, so that it is indeed closed when you pull it out. To pull it out, you just pull this orange lever up and then pull the cassette toilet out carefully. There's a handle on the top and sort of a hook on the side. From there, you have this nozzle that swivels out, and you can open this nozzle by unscrewing. And then once it's unscrewed, all you need to do is just tip it into the hole vertically to release whatever's in the cassette, pressing this orange button for full flow. And you're going to want to have pretty good aim when you go for the hole so you don't spill, and you're going to make sure that you wear gloves when you're actually emptying out. We provide gloves with the rental, so you don't need to worry about bringing those. In order to put the cassette toilet back in, you turn the swivel back onto the cassette, lift the cassette up and put it in wheels first, and push until that orange handle has clipped. One nice thing about this handle is that it also acts, when you pull it out, it also acts as a handle that allows you to wheel the cassette toilet around if you have to bring it to a vault toilet or a further distance. You don't need to actually bring your whole vehicle to the dump station. You can just pop the cassette toilet out, wheel it over to the dump station, dump it out, and bring it back. In order to close the cassette toilet compartment, you just pull the door up, latch it, and then turn the key back. This isn't because it's necessarily valuable, but you don't want this flying open while you're driving, so you got to make sure that it's locked just to prevent that from happening. Once you've put the cassette toilet back empty, you're going to want to put some of this Campa-Chem into the tank. You can do that right here through the toilet itself. You just press the button in order to fill the toilet with a little bit of water, and then pour 1/4 cup of this into the toilet and then flush in order to let it go into the cassette toilet, and that'll help reduce any odor that you'll have inside of the bathroom. And if you're noticing odor, then just add a little bit more Campa Chem, and that should help with that.
Taking a shower also starts at the panel. Make sure your water pump is on. You can also turn the water heater on. It has 3 different settings which vary the speed in which it heats up. Eco is obviously the slowest. Hot will take a little bit longer, and boost is if you need to heat up the water quickly. Make sure that everything is out of the bathroom, that you don't have anything on the floor. Remember to take out your toilet paper. Pull this curtain over and look for these black clips. The shower curtain clips in there on both sides. There's some on this side too. Your shower curtain covers up all of the bathroom. Then you can also turn your toilet seat out of the way. The toilet seat turns all the way around, depending on how it will be easiest for you to take a shower. Grab your faucet head through this hole and use the lever right there to turn the shower on and off. When you're done taking a shower, unhook the black clips, pull the shower curtain back, tuck the shower curtain into these side clips. One thing to make sure to remember before you take a shower is that the drain is open, and underneath this teak board is the drain, and it turns to be open. And make sure you clear out any debris from there or the shower will flood. So when you want to use your kitchen sink, remember to turn on your water pump. If you want hot water, you go in here, go to your hot water, and turn that to hot or boost depending on how fast you need it to start up. So you can just turn it to hot. And the sink is a Dometic. You flip the top. We put a little sticker to tell you this direction is hot, this direction is cold. You just lift it up. And then the drain in here is a turn drain. So you just turn that to close it up if you need to fill your sink to wash, and then turn it to let the water drain out. Pretty simple.
On your keychain, there's another key, a smaller silver key. This is the key to unlock the gray tank hose, which is located behind this panel. In order to get at the gray tank hose, you want to lift this panel up, and then you'll see the key slot here that you plug the key into, turn, and that pulls the panel fully off. Then from there, you can pull this hose completely out. You're going to want to unscrew the cap from the hose completely before you release the valve that lets the gray water flow out. Underneath the panel, to the left of the hose compartment, is this lever here. In order to release the water, you're going to want to pull that all the way to the left, and then the water will flow. Just let it go until it's completely empty and there's no more water flowing. Then what I'll do is I'll close this valve completely, and then I grab the hose from the front of it and I pull it up towards the top, rolling as I go to get the last little bits of water out of the hose before I put the cap back on. When I put it back in, I like to make sure that this goes in first, and that's going to make tucking the hose into that little compartment a lot easier. So tuck that in first, and then feed the remainder of this hose in front, and it'll fit in a little bit more easily with that hose towards the back. You see, like, you can really stuff it in when you do it that way. Then you take this panel, tuck in the 2 notches to the bottom, and then push that forward and turn the key to latch it shut. You kind of have to push and hold it shut and then turn the key, and then that will close the gray water compartment, and we're ready to go. When you're ready to refill the van with water, inside this rear compartment is a pack with a hose. Inside of the hose pack, you have a couple of pieces. They should all be attached. On the hose itself, there is this pressure gauge. You're going to want to keep this on whenever you're refilling water, because sometimes RV parks and campgrounds will have such high pressure it'll actually blow the hose out. This keeps it from doing that. So make sure that that stays on when you screw it on to the hose spigot. This will screw in to the van itself. Before you screw these in, you're going to want to change this lever to be pointing to tank to refill the tank. You can also turn this lever to city if you want to completely hook into a city water system, and that will bypass the tank entirely. So the water will come straight from the spigot into your cabin. We tend to just fill the tank up. So turn to tank and then hook up your hose. On the rear driver's side of the vehicle is the city water inlet. This is where you'll hook up your hose. These two pieces swivel independently so that you can screw and unscrew the hose and the cap. You hook up the right angle hose nozzle to this side, and then just use that swivel to turn this all the way until it's hand tight. And then you can hook up your hose to the spigot and fill it up.
To plug in the van is super easy. It's back in this kind of garage closet that we have. We keep the cord in this bag, and we have everything you need to plug it in to a few different areas. All right, this is a surge protector and circuit analyzer. You want to plug this in first to make sure the power that you're putting in the van is safe. There's directions posted right here that will show you what's happening depending on which lights are illuminated. Okay. If you're gonna plug into someone's house, or maybe they don't have 30 amps or 50 amps at wherever you're plugging, this is kind of like your standard 15 amp plug. You attach these two together and then plug it in. If you are going somewhere, showing my super strength, that is 50 amp, we've got that too. And then the other side is what you plug into the van, and we'll show you. It's on the driver's side. All right, this is the side that you plug into the van. If you look closely, each of the prongs is a different shape. So make sure you line it up correctly. You push it in all the way, and then it turns slightly, and then this gray part screws on to fully secure it to the van. And then you take your other side and you plug it into your power.
To open up the back door entirely, you're going to need to take the tire down. In order to take the tire down, you're going to want to take this latch pin and unhook it and pull the pin completely out. And then with two hands, just bring the tire down and slowly lower it, making sure that there's nothing in the way that it will bump. And you can just rest it directly on the ground. And then you can open both doors completely. This lever on the inside opens the second door. These swing completely out, and you can pull down the screen all the way in order to get a nice cross view. Yeah. Just a reminder that the spare tire is pretty heavy. It's 50 to 75 pounds, maybe a little bit more. So you're going to want somebody who's able-bodied who can lower it down and lift it back up easily. There is a sign inside, but just as a reminder, because it's a really easy mistake to make, is whenever you're operating the sliding door, you're going to want to make sure that both this window and this window are closed and locked in place so that you don't accidentally knock them out of place or break them.
One of the most important things that you need to know is that these buttons are what you use to lock and unlock all the cabinets, all the drawers. It's your little handle to open and close. But before you start driving, make sure they're all locked, or whatever is in that cabinet or drawer will come out while you're driving. Okay, to use the stove, you lift the top up. You, depending on which burner you're gonna use, turn it to light and then push this button and you'll see it light up. And then obviously the size of the flame is how big a flame you need to use to work with, to cook with. And then you just turn it to off when you're done and then close this up when you're all done. Both of these need to be closed while you're driving. So for the microwave, you need to turn the inverter on, and that's again over at your panel. You click that on, you'll hear the microwave beep and it will tell you it's ready to microwave. So we will turn the refrigerator on for you so that it's nice and cool, but remember that the batteries need to stay on for the refrigerator to stay on. To open the fridge, you just push this little button that disengages this metal pin. And to adjust the refrigerator temperature or to turn it off if you're not going to be using it, you just turn this dial right here, and that has the different temperature settings for your refrigerator.
The privacy shade and sun visor is just located up here in the top compartment. You pull it down and it's in this canvas bag. All you need to do is just pull out the pieces here, and then these will magnet to the side windows. I'll show you how to do one of these now. Open the door, take the visor, and just magnet it to the shape of the window frame, and shut the door. Now walk it out.
One little tip is that there is a little P for the passenger side and a D for the driver's side, so you know which visor goes to which door.
For the front visor, when you open it up, if you kind of split it down the middle, you can see the seam here at the top. That's going to line up with the rear view mirror. So usually I'll take that and rest it in the middle here, and then fan out the two sides from there. And then you can Velcro around the mirror and tuck this piece in, pulling the visor down to hold it in place. And the same goes for the other side. And now you have a privacy screen at bedtime.
So the sunshade has these little warnings printed right here, but we just want to remind you that when the sunshade is open, or when the sunroof, or whatever this thing is called, is open, this can't be closed more than 3/5 because it will create a suction that will pull this through and crinkle it all up, and it will be super frustrating. It does have a screen that can go all the way across as well, so you can have it open and not worry about bugs. And then when they're clipped together, they can kind of move back and forth. The crank to crank it open is right here. It also says which direction is open, which direction is closed. It's easiest to use when the pop top is up. With it closed, as you can tell, it hits this. So sometimes we just unhook it, pop it up a little bit to crank it open and crank it closed. And then of course, this cannot be open while you're driving. To use the television, you want to make sure that the inverter is turned on. The TV and the Blu-ray won't work without the inverter. The remotes are in the cabinet over the passenger seat. This is for Blu-ray, that's Blu-ray, and this is for your TV. If for some reason the Blu-ray or the TV isn't working, make sure that this red light is on. If it's off, it's not sending power. So just make sure that's on. We also have games and books for you to use. Other important lock to remember is behind the television. It's this one right here. It lowers, lifts and lowers, and it locks the TV in place. If you hold the TV out, just remember to lock it back in place before you drive so that the TV is secure.